Happy Thursday, everyone. It's Hank and Melissa here with more discussions on nature mysticism, specifically the Paqo Kuna tradition of Peru. Coming to you after Thanksgiving, so we're still a little bit in food coma, but today's an open discussion. You can ask any questions, or we'll just kind of go where the energy leads us as we wait a moment or two, just to let people realize that we're streaming.
Yeah, hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
I did. It was really good.
I did better on the 5K than I thought I would do. A little slower than I wanted, but better in reality. It was I was racing in a very fast walk. I could have gone faster, but I was with friends, so I didn't want to leave them. But when most of these professional races send you an email of what your time was, and I'm like, oh, I'm slower than I used to be. So I'll have to work on that. Let's see, updating some Twitch settings here now that we're live.
Yeah. And today we're just having an open discussion on the Paqo Kuna tradition of Peru, but also really, if you caught any of our episodes, if you have questions about anything, we can take the conversation any direction and then relate it back to the Paqo Kuna tradition, because this particular tradition of shamanism is such a broad, like you can really fit anything within it, no matter what type of spiritual practice you have or belief system you have. Mm-hmm. This tradition kind of effortlessly blends together, and you can use them parallel to it. So it's pretty cool, in my opinion, because I like things that blend and work together.
Well, yeah, and it's very versatile, and it's so easy to use in day-to-day, living and life. And honestly, it's funny because for as much of an elaborate setup that you learn to build, in all honesty, like you really don't need any of that in your day-to-day, so so if you like having the big setup and you like having a bunch of toys, cool, you can have that. Or if you're out running around and something comes up, you don't have to sit there and go, well, gee, I can't address this right now because all my stuff's back at home. You could step in and literally do any of the working that needs to happen, because that whole setup is a part of you and represents different parts of you and how to work. So
I wonder if I have a picture of the mesa if they're up there. I thought I did the other day, but I'll look off and on while we are going through here. But the mesa is a representation of you, and it's kind of anchoring and empowerments from all the different teachings. But at the end of the day, if you're in the middle of the woods and you got nothing but you have enough to get everything done that you need to do.
Yes. So that's why, of everything I've been trained in, this is the one thing I'm like, oh, this is actually really useful. Everything can be useful, right? But useful and easy to use are two different things. So,
and the other thing, when you actually are learning it too, it really becomes part of you, and so much of the things become integrated in your life, and it changes your way of being. And I do have, this is a picture of one of my more elaborate setups. This is my whole mesa spread. But in the center, you see that little bumbo misha or mesa, and that is one that you kind of take with you. And the big one, you really set up more for teaching and things. It's not something that I have set up all the time or anything like that. It's when I do a sound bath or when we're having Zane come in, we'll set up that big spread, but it's not necessary even for teaching. I've been with Zane, and you're in the middle of a walk, and all of a sudden an inspiration hits, and he goes on an hour soliloquy and teaching things and demonstrating and whatnot, and you don't need a mesa, but it's a wonderful representation, and can be really useful as a tool as well, and just kind of navigating the map of your other than conscious and your spiritual path and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, hey, Karen, today's open discussion. So if you have questions, if you're considering taking the apprenticeship and you have questions about what to expect, or if you've listened and been a part of past conversations and questions have come up since, feel free to ask. We don't really have a topic that we're trying to stay on touch with. So we figured, hey, let's see where the conversation goes.
Melissa's being really polite. That's me. The reason we're doing this is because I messaged her yesterday. Do we have a topic for tomorrow? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, it's open topic. Because we haven't really seen each other with the holiday and everything, because normally I only connect with Melissa on Thursdays or randomly. But yeah, so.
Yeah, between me traveling for the shows for the store and then holidays, like I haven't been in the store on a Thursday in probably 3 weeks to a month. So This is fly by night, but professionally, we're just leaving this open so you can direct us in the information you want to know.
Oh, that's her calling me out. Like, don't tell him the secrets, Hank. We fly by the seat of our pants all the time.
um, but we do have an apprenticeship that will be starting in the springtime. So there's plenty of time to think, ask questions, decide if you want to jump in. But this is a very life altering in that you're going to learn a lot about yourself. If you think you know everything about you, oh, the lies we tell ourselves, right? So, and I think that's probably the most important part of learning this tradition isn't necessarily like, oh, now I can literally talk to the trees and rocks. It's like I have learned this about me and now I'm a stronger person for it. And I have more confidence into moving in certain directions. I have the knowledge of how to, because now I understand myself a little better. Hey, Kathy. And more people coming in. So feel free to ask questions. If you've taken the apprenticeship and you've had questions from what has come up, feel free to ask that as well. I'm like, holy crap, I got a bunch. Nope.
No, that's me posting a link. We actually already had our first sign up for next year as well. So that's really encouraging too.
Hey, Chris. Hey, I like that sweatshirt you're wearing in that photo there, ma'am. Wonder where you got it from. Yeah, I just had somebody reach out yesterday that was like, I've been told that I need to learn from you. And I'm like, well, there's this apprenticeship starting in the spring. Please consider it. We'll talk more about that later. I thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And I'm feeling a little more human today. So, let's see how today goes. Since like Sunday night.
Oh, good. I meant like in life in general, but okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, just running too hard, and I think some cooties caught in, which is weird because I normally don't get flus or anything like that.
Well, if you do come into the store today, I will keep my distance from you.
I'm probably going to be working mostly out of the office, out of the public eye. And if I'm over next door, it's because I'm grabbing something that I need to picture or reference. I didn't even have to bribe you to say that. That's so nice. But yeah, the shamanism program, I think its most important part is what you're going to learn about yourself that you didn't even know you didn't know, or that maybe you knew but didn't pay attention to and didn't dive into. Hey, Kathy. So this is my first time watching. I'm kind of interested, but wondering what the apprenticeship is all about. Well. Kathy, do you remember, because I can't remember if you came to any of the healing ceremonies that Julie Toth and I did together before she got swamped with her other job? If you did, and if you remember that mesa setup that I had in the store that was kind of like off to the side. Hey, Mary Lee. This apprenticeship is where I learned to do all of that and how to work it and how to use that in everyday situations and life. So this is that loosely 8-month apprenticeship. And we say that because sometimes it goes longer because other things come up and people just keep having questions, and the interest to learn just kind of makes it go a little longer. Who are you doing this with? So Zane Curfman is the teacher for Hank and I. And what is it? April, I think we said, is the starting point.
April will definitely be the first in-person class. There's a possibility we might start with some remote stuff the month before. That's unconfirmed, but March and or April for actual starting of work.
So Zane will be a part of that. Hank and I will be assisting here and there. His little underling minions to help explain or conduct some of the exercises while he is there and present. But a lot of times Hank and I are the people that after the class is over, because we're local, if you have questions. And Zane sometimes is hard to get a hold of only because he travels so much in some of his teachings and workings, which he will clearly answer, but sometimes it's delayed. That it's easier to get a hold of Hank or I and be like, hey, can you re-explain that? Or can you explain it differently? Somehow I'm not getting it, or I don't understand. So we kind of take to the side and say, oh, think of it this way, or this is what it's doing. While we're there in person in the classes. So hopefully that answers your question, Kathy, but I don't remember if you remember seeing that mesa that I always had set up, and like everybody always said it smelled good and they wanted my big blue kyanite piece off of it because everybody loved that piece. They're like, I love it. It feels so good and calming and like home. And I'm like, yes, put it back. We can get you your own, but leave that one alone.
Yeah. To answer a little bit more broadly too, the program is really about self-empowerment, whether you want to be in a healing role and do events like Melissa and Julie were doing, or a private practice. It's also like for people who just want to have an easier, a more flowy walk in life. Like even if you're not working with people, learning how to use your energy field, and instead of responding to something impulsively, responding with compassion, or different things like that. So it just helps your whole soul walk be a little bit easier, even if you don't want to be a professional Paqo, like out there offering healings.
Yes. Oh, awesome. Yes. So this is the apprenticeship to learn how to make that and how to do the techniques that I was using. It is a wonderful program. And then the cool thing is that I, myself, Hank and Zane and others, like, because we've had other like mentoring programs, and I think all of the teachers that have learned through this or have been a part are a very open, friendly, accepting community. So, students tend to become friends themselves and work with one another. They've reached out to previous apprenticeship alumni, and we also keep up with all of our previous alumni and offer, like new updated, and I shouldn't say like updated, right? Because now it sounds like tacky, but like, hey, have you considered doing it this way? Or I've done that and it works. And so just kind of keeping up with one another. As much as they want to be looped in, right? We're not going to come knocking on your door and be like, hey, we haven't heard from you for 6 months. What are you doing? It's like, hope you're okay, and then we let it be. It's not a cult. You don't need to call your father. It's not a cult. But it is, it's a commitment. It is a few months long. You can stop at any given point. A lot of times people will stop because they're like, I have so much to process, I need to deal with that. And which is completely fine. It's not looked down upon. The only thing is though, you can't jump back in until you make up what you've missed. So if you miss like 1 or 2 workshops, that's usually easier to get with us on the side, and we can catch you up and you can keep going on time. But if you miss like the rest of that apprenticeship and there's 1 more class, you can't jump in for that last one. You have to wait, for a next round, or go under one of us privately to finish that out, because it does build upon itself. It's not just read the chapter, take this test, now you're done. It's a continual learning and building. So you can't jump from C to L and know what's going on.
Yeah. Especially true of the first 3 or 4 weekends. Some of the other ones can be moved around, but still, like, you really want to have everything build upon itself the way that it's intended. You don't want to be top heavy and fall down,
Yeah. But feel free to ask questions, guys. Let's see. So this will be a combination of in-person and online. Whereas the way you and I did it, Hank, in the beginning, it was all in
person, no handouts, no notes, no recordings. You get what you get. But now it's like
Hope you can remember everything you just learned.
Well, now it is, I do typically, he lets me record like an audio recording minimum of the class. So like we have an archive of what you learn. And then the online portion, those videos are not available indefinitely, but during the program itself, you can go back and rewatch videos and there's the exercises and meditations. He's really done the best of both worlds because there's some stuff that just does not translate to online, like the Hatan Karpay, the Great Initiation. You got to go to nature where those spots are. You can't recreate that through a computer screen, unless you had all the students go to their own little hotspot. Maybe I don't know if that would really work though. But and then the videos and things go way more in depth to teachings that he never had time to go into with us in person. Because by the time you have gone out, you open the ceremony on Friday, you've gone and done your nature work on Saturday, you get there on Sunday to do the Mesa work, and everybody's like, I'm fried. And even if Zane's talking and teaching, like sometimes it just doesn't settle. So you can only go over so much. So like the combination of in-person online, you can go way more in depth and learn some things that Melissa and I probably didn't learn till year 3 going through with Zane the first time. And now it's all kind of bundled together in a way that isn't overwhelming. It's at like a trickle thing. And, you know, and also remember, take the best and leave the rest. Not all the time can you just take all of it. Maybe one technique really sings to your soul, and this time you really focus on that, and the other stuff doesn't go as deep. That's not a wrongness. We have people like Mary Lee. She's been in like 9 times through the program. Like she's every time Zane's done it, she's taken it, and it's a different program every time, and something new stands out or something new anchors deep. So it really you get out of it what you put into it, but also, you know, Spirit just has a way of making things stick that are really crucial and vital for you.
Well, and we did. And I think Zane really took this to heart when COVID kind of forced it to become only online, right? But then there were people like me. I'm a hands-on in-person learner, and I'm like, I don't want online. That means nothing. So in talking with him, he really took that into heart. And I'm like thinking also there are different type of learners, and you can't do the apprenticeship for all people in one way. So he's redesigned the in-person and online to fit people's busy work schedules and family life, as well as the different type of learning techniques that we all have. So it's meant to be easier for everybody in fitting all of that in. Judy says, you said the apprenticeship will be an opportunity to learn about yourself. And I was wondering if you could talk about how the process differs from the work you might do with a therapist or a counselor. It feels like it would be complementary. Not exactly. It's not a replacement. So like, yeah, I was going to say, and I'm trying to remember what the technique was, but there was a part of either the first or second time where it was like the shadow weekend. And, you know, you were supposed to lock yourself away. And there were some people that really had a problem with this. And I'm like, honey, I love the dark and the quiet and just me and my thoughts. But another part of that, and this was like in person, he put us through like this trance, and it was like addressing what was it the fear or your biggest issue was, and what I assumed it to be was not. And, you know, what came up, and I'm like, holy cow, you know, but to know then what was a driving factor to then be able to work on it. So if you are with a counselor or a therapist and you're like, hey, you know, I don't know why this keeps coming up. And they're like, well, are you ready to address this? And you're like, well, yeah, maybe there's something even lower. And once you understand what that is, now you can finally make more progress, you know, farther or quickly. So it's definitely not a replacement.
Yeah, it's really about looking at the original wound, or I like it more original imprinting, and about how to navigate that. And the exercise Mosa alluded to, it's like you are in a closet, just you, yourself, and your soul in the dark, and see what comes up. And it reminds me a little bit about how a lot of the great people who are considered great masters of the past, like the Buddhas and Jesus, and even Dr. Zui, there was always these periods of time it was just them out in the desert or out by themselves up on a mountain, and it's just you with no other interaction or mirrors, and the stuff bubbles up. And so when you can quiet the mind or tame it a little bit. You can't get rid of it. The mind that does what it does on purpose, but all those imprints, you kind of settle into it and you kind of feel the theme of energy around it, and then you can go and work with it more. And there's also tracking techniques with rattles and using the different animal allies about tracking those energies and then elevating them. So there's a lot of identification and then elevation, and of course illumination. There's kind of a process that you're taught throughout the whole thing about how to basically take those imprints and use an alchemy process to shift it.
Yeah. And it's kind of like once you learn how to kind of do that technique, you can do that over and over for yourself of like, why is this really bothering me that bad? So it's just an example of things that you can use for yourself to, use the apprenticeship and help life be better for you. And there's nothing that says you can't teach people around you how to do certain meditations and be like, I'm your best friend and I'm tired of hearing you complain about this over and over. Let's do something about it. Are you tired of complaining about it yet? But definitely not a replacement for therapist or counselor. This is not medical advice. This is, learning about yourself and using that as an extra tool in that toolbox of self-betterment, not a replacement.
The big thing too is it might bring you the awareness, but you still got to do the work. And so but it gives you tools where you're willing to kind of take a deeper dive and trudge through the things that might be holding you up. And then the support of the community is amazing.
I think that was always part of the beginning of the day, the morning, tradition that happened. And it just would happen naturally. Like everybody would come early to not only set up and activate their mesas for the day, but it was always the whole, like, what did you dream about or what's been happening? Or if it was like that Friday, Saturday, like catching up with one another, what happened over the month since, what did you learn? What did you experience? What had happened? And I think that first year, there were quite a few of us who by the second round were like, yep, we're divorced. Like we quit putting up with some stuff. We're divorced. And I'm like, oh shit. Well, okay. I guess that was needed for the theme for that time around.
Well, that I guess is another theme that this really does for you is it brings you into a congruency of your body and being and your actions and thoughts and your life path and your soul path. And when that clicks, the things that don't work for you anymore, you either have to go back into your well-trodden wagon road of unconsciousness, or you got to get busy and get changing or demand change. And all of us have experienced a lot of change. Yeah. Some more dramatic than others.
Yeah, not saying you're going to get a divorce. It just happened to be a theme for that one. Yep. And looking back at those people, it was kind of like there were issues and problems, and I'm like, oh, okay. You finally were just able at a place to confidently make the change for yourself.
There were also cases where there were problems in a relationship and the tools from the program were able to brought in and things got better and changed and shifted and saved relationships. So it's like, there's a lot of different, like the awareness is yours, how you go about addressing the incongruency that shows up. You can take that in different directions. Basically, you're getting in touch with what really serves me in the soul walk and what tools do I have to help me make those choices and accomplish it.
Now there's been at least 2 years where there's been married couples who would take it together.
Yeah.
And both would learn and both would grow. And I hope we get to see the one couple again. I don't want to say their names because we don't have permission to throw them out there.
But they made lots of yummy treats and brought them.
Yes, and they're adorable people.
Yes. I bet you they might come for a weekend or whatnot, but the whole thing, we'll see. Well, we'll make sure they know about it and see, because it's a long drive for them.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, they were willing to come in from out of state for it because they love Zane. They have taken little classes with him in,
They went to Peru with Zane too.
Right? I got a passport to go to Peru with Zane and then COVID hit and I still have a passport that needs to be used, Zane. It's sitting collecting dust right now, Zane.
Well, you could go somewhere else, Melissa.
No, I wanted to go to Peru and go see, Asagante.
No, she's calling Zane. She's calling you Zane, right? She's calling him out.
Yes.
If he's not watching now, he'll watch in the replay, and he'll probably be
Right?
very
Live even. So this will be probably mostly at the store, right? Because I have more office, bigger space to
Oh
hold,
yeah, it's
depending on
going to
how.
be the home base, if you will be at Goddess Elite, um, with maybe an exception if some weird event happens and we're double booked or something. But that should not happen, right, Melissa? Right.
No,
Anyway,
no.
it will be at the store, but it's like a home base. So the typical weekend looks like you come in on Friday, with the exception of the first weekend. First weekend we do meet at a location. But usually meet Friday night, set up Mesa, activate, have a go around talking and maybe an exercise. And then Saturday is we meet at the store, we carpool to whatever the nature visits are for that day. And we will be out sometimes quite late in the day and then come back, touch base. And then Sunday, a little bit of a lighter day, not much traveling, but a lot more Mesa teachings and things. So that's kind of the rhythm of each weekend, but it's all going to be at Goddess Elite. And then in between those monthly sessions, we're going to have the online videos and exercises.
Yes. Start planning that now. So those of us that still need passports can get them and can squirrel away the money to be ready to go.
Well, part of the issue, like he's almost had the trip planned a couple times, but one of the people he coordinates with, like he has to literally write them a letter. And by the time he gets there, if the dude's on like the Peruvian equivalent of walkabout, they're like not there for a month or two. Then they get back and they write him back. But now everything is like, it just takes, like once it's organized and dates are set and things, it can hum pretty well. But like that initial, like making sure everything's ready to line up can take a little time. And then those things have to line up.
Right.
It'll happen. If the dude's home, I think they can Zoom now. So time has changed for the Paqos.
Yeah. So, if this trip gets planned and goes through, then you too can join a Peru trip and meet the teacher's teacher's teacher and do some things down there.
Well, one of the teachers. The other teachers, nobody's going up there. Well, maybe they will, but that would be a separate thing. You got to spend 3 days on a llama hiking somewhere to get to those teachers. But like one of his main teachers does live in Cusco. And then we get to meet him for sure, probably.
But yeah, feel free to ask questions, guys. I took the little banner down because it hides all of the contact info to where if you come up with a question later or you're watching this after the live and you have a question, you can get a hold of us and ask your question.
I should get my passport now that I'm thinking about it. It's been expired for a while.
Oh,
Probably a good idea. We're going to do for
Westlake Library. That's where I got mine done.
Yeah. And if you have more questions about the apprenticeship too, I put a link in the comments. It should be in everywhere we're streaming to, and it does have a link to my website. I had a landing page that gives you a little bit of information and a number of different sign up options, because you can do, instead of like just waiting until next year, you could start now and just do 12 payments and that kind of thing. So like if you really want to commit and you want to spread it out, you can sign up anytime and it will hold your spot, and you can just kind of break that up over some time.
So, but yeah, feel free to ask questions. Be it you can even find us in person, because Hank, you're usually in the store on Thursdays.
Yep. Yep. There's Zane.
Yay!
This fall, I mean next year fall. Fall's hair's done, but
yeah. We're already late.
but passports are so. If you are interested in that and you don't have a passport, go get one now, because they've been really behind, and I should take my own advice and get one so I can go and play with the Paqos as well.
Yeah, questions, comments. But I do know Westlake Library, if you're local and you're like, I need one.
They do it, and then you can even schedule an appointment at the post office and just show up, and they take the picture for you and do everything. So it's pretty good. The picture is the hardest part. Go somewhere that takes the picture for you, and you don't have to make 2 stops, and you just do it in one shot.
Oh, it'll be a small group, no more than 12.
There you go.
So we might have to rock, paper, scissors it of who gets accepted if we have more than 12 want to sign up. chairs, like, it's quite interesting. All cultures have ghosts, isn't it? And it's fun. It's fun because this tradition kind of treats paranormal stuff a little differently um, than your typical stuff of what you will see on TV, and even a little differently than how Marianne addresses it. Because in this tradition, you're working with them to heal them and yourself. Because this touches into some curandismo, and there's different types of those spirits. So, Chair, I know you watch a lot with Marianne, and she's got one way of addressing them, and this is a whole completely different way of working and addressing. I will pick back. Thanks for all you do. I will pick up Zane's book. Such a great tradition. I do have copies here at the store. So the next time you're in, Karen, which, did you get one already?
Well, probably not. Maybe she gave it away and she needs a new one.
Maybe.
If the holidays are coming up, Zane's book would make a great
there you go.
Autographed versions available.
The Quechua word for ghost.
No, we don't have the pronunciation to go with it. Aya? Did I say it right, Zane? Aya?
We have to get Zane in on one of these lives, maybe.
Well, on different days we probably could. Thursdays it's hard for him to be on. I asked him already.
A special Zane
late night evening Esta Zeno. Yeah. There we go.
So yeah, you guys have questions. Now, Hank, you do use some of the traditional healing that you've learned through Zane when you're at the store.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've ever had a healing with Hank and you're like, hey, was that shamanism? Maybe. Could have been. Could be.
Well, that's the container that I do most of my work within, but I do other stuff besides it. Yeah. Right. I usually do a blending. I like opening up space the way Zane teaches and calling the spirits and everything. And then I augment it with sound therapy, crystal bowls, and tuning forks. Melissa's favorite things, gongs. But then I'll weave things from what Zane teaches into that sound healing process as I have intuitions and awarenesses and that kind of thing.
I think we need to schedule one of these with like both of our mesas set up just to show the difference in the similarities, because no two mesas ever look the same.
I want to do that once a month out of the store. I just have to I have to compile my mesa in a way that's really transportable and then bring it in once a month, because I wanted to do like a clinic or something like I did for Pachamama Roimi, where people could just come in and I do a little healing around the mesa. That was really fun, and I think it would be cool to do once a month. And that would be a good time for that stream because I'll have the mesa set up. So probably January. Probably January, because I'm not going to do that before that, maybe. But we'll see. I'll give myself a stretch goal.
I have not. That is a very, if I understand correctly, a closed tradition that you need to be accepted and trained specifically in. So I have not, because honestly, the time that I have is like this big. It's up to you, Hank, if you want to answer that one.
I don't know anything in particular about voodoo specifically. It is a blending of traditions, I believe, but I am not someone that can speak to it effectively.
Well, see, that's the thing. In movies, everything is dramatized and sometimes in a negative light because they want the ratings, they want the theatrics. Just like Ouija boards are so scary. They open gateways, woo, because, 80s horror movies killed people with planchettes through the eyes, right? Well, it's not so scary to be paper cut to death by tarot cards, or kind of hard to strangle somebody with a pendulum, but those open doorways of communication too. But nobody's afraid of angel cards or pendulums, but everybody's afraid of a Ouija board. Thanks, 80s horror movies.
Right.
it's, if there is an interest, always do your research and make sure you're getting credible research and look across the board and find the common themes, and don't always fall into everything is bad and scary, because it's not. Well, there you go.
Yeah, Zane could speak to it, I believe.
Yeah.
I will say I don't think it's anything scary.
Yeah.
It's just like with a little bit of knowledge, there's just a lot of what's the word, projection from people who are scared of such things into media and movies and things, and it just really taints. Just like if you hear only bad things about a person, then you meet them in person, like you're looking at them already through all these bad lenses, and it could be a really good person, but you were talking to the ex-wife that would only speak the worst of the worst of the worst, right? But then the person's actually a good person, but you can't see them for who they are. So just an invitation to take off the lenses that you're looking at these things with, and like, what does it really feel to you, and that kind of thing. And Zane is a great resource for that information as well.
Zane, if you want to put in the comments how you would like Chair Bear to contact you, we'll make sure she gets that.
Yeah.
But anything can seem scary when you don't know anything about it other than anything negative that somebody else has told you, right? So keep an open mind. Don't always assume everything is negative. In your opinion, what is the most realistic, a ghost type of movie? Honestly, just because of knowing Marianne, I would have to say her TV show, The Ghost Whisperer, is probably the most realistic of how they operate on a day-to-day. But when it comes to movies and dramaticism and everything's a ghost and a demon.
What about The Sixth Sense? That would be a little bit.
I forgot about that one.
Or if you go back on like the others, yeah. But no, Sixth Sense is like probably my, like in terms of earthbound spirits. I mean, like there's a whole world of spirits, different movies with different things, but I think Sixth Sense was pretty good.
Chair, do you have Facebook Messenger? Oh, the movie Ghost. Okay. I'm trying to remember that one.
Casper, says Zane.
Maybe, because now I'm trying to remember the movie Ghost and the whole possession part. But I think Whoopi Goldberg's character was actively willing as a possession medium to allow that to happen. So probably. Yeah. I don't know about Casper. Even Zane's laughing at that one.
Yeah, he's laughing at himself for suggesting it. Casper the Friendly Ghost. I think one of the no, never mind. That's not realistic. That's a silly thought. I don't got much. I find myself very critical of such movies, actually.
Chair, if you do have Facebook, there is Zane's Messenger. Well, that would be his name on Facebook to look him up in picture, to send him questions about the voodoo. Because I'm sure he knows somebody.
Well, you know what? I can get Zane's profile and post a link to it to her in Twitch. And then we know that she has been connected with him. And Zane will get an influx of all kinds of people, right? I will only put this. She's watching. Goddess Elite Twitch posting Zane's thing. There we go. You can reach out there and then just reach out through Messenger. Or if you don't have Messenger, if you reach out to me, I can get you a different way to
Zane.
I mean, the Messenger is the fastest versus like email or snail mail. So
yeah,
if you don't have Facebook, make a fake profile account just to message Zane and mess with him. Kidding. I mean, get information from him.
Name the profile, only to message Zane.
Right. I had someone do that. They made a profile just so they could join a group and be part of an offering. So like, yeah.
Chris Sparks says another TV show that was somewhat realistic was Medium. See, I never watched that
I
one.
never watched that either.
She did not get woken up in the middle of the night like the show does. So see, dramaticism, right? Kind of like what Richie and I were talking about yesterday is like, why do they always portray things at night? Because it's scarier. So,
Well, there is a little truth to like spirits will sometimes nudge you more at night because there's less going on. Your mind's not as distracted. You're more apt to notice things, but it's not because they're waiting for the scariest part of time of day to pop out at you. It's like you're more likely to notice them when there's less distractions.
right. Because the day has quieted down, work is done, the kids are in bed. Now you're going to pay attention to all those little things. See, I didn't watch, didn't get to Dead Like Me. It was about Reapers, but it dealt with ghosts a lot. See, I didn't watch that one either. I don't have time to watch a lot of TV, unfortunately. And now everything is streaming. So unless it's on one of the streaming platforms, like I don't get to watch it. But that's provided I have downtime to watch anything.
Yeah, I still want to watch the Dexter thing with you, but like that's never going to happen probably.
And rumors are that there's going to be another season following his son, but I don't know when that's supposed to start filming. And with the strike going on, of course, nothing's filming. But I'm a huge fan of Allison. She was a really good podcast. She's one of the TV series mediums based on. Okay. Might have to look that one up. I'm always running out of podcasts. So instead of watching TV, I'm usually listening to a podcast while I'm doing things. So even while I'm at work, there's either a podcast on or I'm lurking on friends' Twitch channels and occasionally typing a quick hi and then going right back to work. So I've probably done that to poor Bad Hippie Sean, where I'll just kind of lurk and I might be like, hi. And then if they answer back, like I may not respond back to your hi because I've already like back to work. Because if I get too carried away over here, I will not go back to work.
Well, thank you, Tony, for tuning in. Have a good day too. And Chair Bear, do I stream too? I used to stream all the time, and then I got out of the habit. I don't know if I had burnout or what, but like me coming on and doing this with Melissa, I will eventually be streaming more. The platform I stream to most is actually TikTok. So when I do lives, that's normally where I'm doing it. But I will be doing other live stream content on my Twitch channel and YouTube channel and stuff like that.
Yeah. So if you guys have any other questions about the apprenticeship, because we're getting close to having to wrap up to get the day started at the store, like me actually putting my shoes on and driving the 1.5 miles down the road to the store. Let's go. We can get those answered for you. Oh, don't tell him that.
I can see the comment already.
Tell him that. Oh my God, I'm going to hear about it all day now. Thanks.
No. You should totally have me on more often.
Oh my God. It's like the brother I never wanted.
Hey, you're stuck with me.
Yeah.
With our Penny Che.
Right.
That means sacred soul sister in Quechua. No, but it's the family that you choose that really add a lot of growth and things in your life. And we've done a lot and have helped each other. So,
yeah, well, I plan on being there today. I'll probably be more on the office side because I've got some other stuff that I need to catch up on from all the traveling, and should be there tomorrow. As far as I know, I think this is the first weekend in like a month that I don't have a show to be at. I think I'll double check that calendar when I get there today, just to make sure.
I was about to do a wellness check on you. I hadn't seen you in so long in the wild.
As of now, I should be the one there opening the doors up for you Saturday morning for the Pathfinders group, which for our local people, if you're looking for a community in the woo-woo, like the Pathfinders group is a group to come join. Do I have any tarot streams coming up? You know what? We can see about doing those. I kind of called it quits on some of the Wednesdays just because so many times there were people unavailable and I was just frustrated in trying to find last minute stand-ins. So we'll see, and we might plan those out way ahead of time and get those ready to go.
I did it once, but it's like the day for German school. I'm more able to do it in the summer. But I even look, I have a banner for Woo Woo Wednesday with Hank and Melissa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just needs to be reevaluated to where it was fun and not stressful for me last minute, like suddenly coming online and be like, okay, so the plans we said we were going to do is not happening. This is what we're doing now as of 10 minutes ago. So we'll get something back on. I can't guarantee that it'll be the Wednesday, but we'll see what happens. But the shaman talks Thursday mornings are going to be, they're the regular things for Thursday mornings when it's not
I
Thanksgiving or any other holiday coming up on a Thursday. So
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't. That's why usually Thursdays are pretty safe, except for that darn turkey day. So
since we talked about tarot, I'll pull one. This is an Andean oracle deck.
Okay.
It's just really cool. So I'll just pull one card since, like, we talked about tarot. We got Hoocha. And the card reads, are you feeling disempowered, dear one? Allow the energy of a sacred place in nature to help you. Into a power spot, a confluence of two rivers, a mountain, a powerful stone being. Open sacred space, make offerings, put the life force energy up into you through your feet. Feel the power surge and sit in contemplation of the question, to whom have I given my power away and why? Be grateful for the opportunity to find out how you may be holding yourself hostage for the need of approval from others. So there you go. Well, that's a good note to end on.
There we go. Think about that today.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good conscious thing to be aware of. So as you go through your working day today or your school day, like, be conscious of the fact of not allowing your power to be given to where it's not going to serve you. Oh, my dear, you always have it. It's just recognizing it. But with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up and get ready. And Chair, hopefully you're able to get a hold of Zane to ask your questions. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Catch you later. And I am here all day today if you are local and want to stop in for anything. And we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.